Hi there, Simon Keeling here. It's what day is it? Where am I? Who am I? It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, of course, it's Tuesday, the 1st of November. That's a good start, isn't it? Always nice to get the date right. Just want to give you an update on how conditions are developing over the next week or so. If you've seen the video yesterday, you'll know that I was talking about a change in the weather possibly taking place this period, the 10th, the 11th, that sort of period. Now, we're getting some backup from the models this morning, although, actually, the models aren't in agreement with each other, but they are hinting at a change on the way. So it kind of builds confidence, although there's still stress. It's a long way off, so confidence is still best considered as probably low to moderate, but starting to get some signals in there. Let me just talk you through this quickly, and sorry to ramble on here. I hope it's not too boring for you. Just stick with me and I'll show you what's happening. This is the precipitation forecast for the next 10 days from the GFS model. This is valid from today through to next Tuesday. Notice the huge drier over Eastern Europe here because of high pressure. Across the British Isles, forecast to get rainfall of between 20 and 50 millimetres during the period. Now for the following week, from Wednesday the 9th until Thursday the 17th, things drying down. Look, notice that this is from the GFS, remember, so we've got between 5 and 10 millimetres generally across the country, and notice there's wetter weather going into the Mediterranean during that period. Now the anomaly chart from Tuesday to Tuesday, this is from today through to the week today, shows the area of dry weather across Eastern Europe, shows the British Isles in, well, reasonably near normal conditions, drier than normal across Scotland, but look at this wet weather coming through Iberia and the southern parts of France. Now, it's important just to bear in mind this idea of drier weather developing during the course of next week, because that's what I want to show you on these charts. So let me just go on to the 10-day temperature forecast. This is how the GFS model sees temperatures, kind of 10 plus degrees across the British Isles, generally temperatures above normal, below normal though over Eastern Europe. You can see much of Europe here above normal, below normal across Iberia and also Portugal. So how does that translate into weather? Well, got an interesting discrepancy taking place this morning. You've seen these models before. This is the 7 to 10 day mean 500 millibar flow, so it's at 18,000 feet, and it shows us the anomalies in the flow as well as the actual flow itself. So on the left here we've got the ECMWF model, on the right here we've got the GFS model, and this is for the period from next Tuesday through to the following Friday. So where are we then? Getting on to the 11th of November. Now notice there is a difference between these two. ECMWF develops a deep trough across mid-Atlantic. GFS keeps that trough further west, but brings in these anomaly in the heights, the higher than normal heights, through much of Central and Western Europe. Now that's important because there's a difference between the model, and when you get differences between the models like this after a spell of reasonably similar weather, such as we've had recently, this unsettled flow, these changes in the models normally indicate a change on the way to go to some different weather regime, and it's doing this for this period between the where did I say? Yeah, between the 8th and the 11th. So it's within our period that we highlighted as a possible change on the way. So that's what I'm taking from this, is this confirmation of a change on the way. Now let me just show you the comparison between the models, and you might remember yesterday there was a reasonable comparison. This is the Monday midnight frame from the GFS, from the Canadian, from the UK Met Office and from the ECMWF, and notice that they're all playing around with high pressure, look, bringing high pressure through the country, although there are some subtle differences in there, particularly related to these little areas of low pressure that the GFS has developed, and also that the UK Met Office has developed too, and one there on the ECMWF. Now these little areas of low pressure are really indicating that there's changes taking place, and I think this is going to be a big change across Europe for that middle part of November. Of course, I could be totally wrong, but this is what we're seeing at the moment. Let me just show you what the ECMWF does for midnight on Friday the 11th. So this is a week on Friday. It's got low pressure, look, west of Scotland, a mild southwesterly flow, high pressure across the east of Europe. Now let me show you the GFS, how this sees it developing during the coming few days. And what's of interest here is to notice how things develop. The time is up here, look, in the top left hand corner, and we keep low pressure out towards the west, look, as we go through this week. In it comes, bringing unsettled conditions, and very unsettled into parts of the weekend. But by Sunday, high pressure built out towards the west, but we get low pressure across France, bringing us the risk of some fairly heavy rain across England, Wales and southern England. That was what we saw in the anomalies there, when we saw rainfall being above normal across England and Wales. But let's just carry on knocking through this, see what happens. High pressure, look, building in, but with low pressure staying down to the south, it always maintains this east to northeasterly flow across the British Isles, and eventually, by the time we get through to the middle to the end of next week, low pressure is going through the Mediterranean, being diverted down into the Mediterranean by the jet stream, and high pressure is staying across the British Isles, across Scandinavia, bringing in this easterly flow. So that's the comparison chart between that, which is the GFS, and that, which is the ECMWF, for the same time. That's the GFS. That's the ECMWF. Now, ordinarily, I lean into the ECMWF, but it seems to me that GFS may well have picked up on this. And as we go through, notice that the high stays in place, the easterlies keep going, and low pressure stays through the Mediterranean right into the middle of the month. Now that would mean that we get dry conditions generally across the British Isles, but cooler conditions too. Notice, I haven't said cold yet, because I'm not sure the flow is going to be particularly very cold, although if we trace the isobars back here, look, they are starting to come from a cold direction, losing heat quickly across western parts of Russia now at this time of year, with an easterly flow moving in, could well make things much colder by the middle of the month. But I think what we're going to be looking at really are overnight frosts, fog, probably a fair amount of low cloud too on this easterly wind, and drizzle affecting eastern coasts of the country through parts of England. But plenty of dry weather around generally. So I guess what to take from today's video is this idea of a change on the way still. We're still focusing around this 10th, 11th period when we go to dry conditions, probably cooler conditions too, although I suspect not very cold, but it will become increasingly cloudy, particularly down those eastern coasts and across parts of England and eastern parts of Wales. Okay, so that's where I am this morning. That's how things look this morning. Thanks for watching, and don't forget this video is kept free of charge by the advertisers that you see around the site here. So if you see an advert that you like around the site, do click on it, show your support for the advertiser, show your support for the site, because that's what generates the revenue to keep the site free of charge. Okay, thanks for watching. Do keep the sun shining, and I hope that's been useful for you. Have a great day, and we'll see how things develop tomorrow.